Welcome, everybody, to Living on Purpose podcast. We're your hosts, James Hagler and Jason Wilson. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Jason Wilson and James Hagler. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be
Good,
back.
good. It's great to be back, right?
Yes, 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 it
Absolutely,
is.
man. So, man, it's been a couple of years since we've been online doing anything with our show. Man, what's been going on for the past couple of years?
Oh, nothing, man. Just still grinding and just like I said, still grinding and keeping the dream alive. That's all.
Absolutely. So, man, let's just jump right in. A lot of people wonder why it was that your dad changed his name from Marvin Hagler to Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Give us that story, man.
Well, he got tired of people, especially the announcers and the networks, not using his full name, not using his stage name, shall I say? Like you got Sugar Ray Leonard, that's Sugar Ray Leonard. Tommy Hitman Hearns. Like they'll say, well, Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard or Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hitman Hearns. They would always say that, and they would put it. They would put the names up on the screen, and they would have their stage name on it. And they
Yeah,
never gave him. They never said his stage name, so he got really aggravated with that. And in some of these clips that you see in some of the fights, he'll tell him he's marvelous, marvelous. Why you guys
yeah.
don't ever say marvelous? And they said, well, Marvin, that's not your name until that becomes your name. Then, and he said, okay. He said, okay. So he made it his name so that he can get the proper respect and etiquette. They were just dissing him all the way around the board. When it came to him, anyways. And
Mhm.
he just didn't like it. Like this sign on the back of it, sign that says it just says Marvin Hagler. Now, if he was here, he'd be like, "No, where's Marvelous? You got to put Marvelous on there." So he was really adamant about correcting that.
Okay, so after he changed his name, did anybody like in your family call him Marvelous, or was it
No,
just?
no. Nah, nobody called him Marvelous. We just started calling him Marvelous now. You know what I mean? We started calling him Marvelous. I refer to him as Marvelous a lot. Especially within the family when we talk
Yeah.
about him. We're talking especially when we're talking about good times and and some of the bad times. Well, Marvelous, I bring up a lot. So
Okay.
we use it now more than anything.
Okay. So, man, when you were growing up, how was that growing up with an up and coming champion of the world?
Well, to tell you the truth, he was like I said, he was just our dad. You know what I'm saying? So it was really hard to see anything special about him at the time because, like I said, he the way he raised us was this is normal. That was his
Mm.
9 to 5. And that's what he was doing. He go to gym every day at this time. You know what I mean? That was his thing. So really start then it really didn't start taking off to us about right when he actually when he won the title, like a couple of fights after he won the title, and we made that move to Hanover. Then we kind of knew that things was different because
Mm.
he was making more money and he started getting more famous. And nothing never changed in the household, really. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, he was always our father, and it was a lot of perks. You know what I'm saying? A lot of benefits that we loved. You know what I mean? But it was hard to, being at that age, it was hard to enjoy any of them because a lot of he was strict. He didn't let us wander off too much. So
Mm.
we had to stay close. And other than that, it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful knowing that your father is making. I mean, he's making his name in this world, and you got to understand too that when I look back at it and I see and I say, well, damn, there's a lot of answers to life's questions right in front of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On how to make it, how to be there, how dedication wise, mindset, all
Mm.
these things that we just we took for granted because he was our father and he would tell us things on the way. like some of the things that he would go through. Oh, okay, if he had a setback, oh, okay, well, we got to jump over this hurdle. We got to do this, but we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it
Mm.
moving. He's always emphasize that no quitting. You ain't gonna get there if you quit. And he always stayed positive. You know what I'm saying? And he always stayed in the word. So with
Mm.
that being said, we know, you know, for us being as kids and stuff like that, we know how to dig ourselves out of holes, should I say?
Mm.
Or when we come up against you know, when we come against hurdles and stuff like that. So we know what to do, you know, because we seen dad do it. I know I get in situations just like me trying to do this boxing event, my James Hagler promotion company. It's taken a while for it to jump off, but you know, like I said, as long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna still keep at it. No matter what
Yeah.
nobody say, they can say, "Oh, he ain't did this yet. He ain't did that yet. Oh, he's always saying this. He's always saying that." You know, people don't know your struggles. People don't know how difficult it is to put on an event without
Right.
no, you know, nowadays you just can't walk up to somebody and say, give me some money and do an event. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the 70s. The whole game has changed. Everything changed. So during all this time, I'm learning each time goes by, I'm learning what not to do, what to do, what can I
Mm.
do, what changed, what didn't change. So you know, and at this point, it's coming to a head. So once I say, shit, once it pop off, it's going to be worth the wait. It was going to be worth it. You know, just like that, he never gave up. He didn't give up. Jersey Joe Walcott, another one, he never gave up. You know,
Right.
Vernon Forrest, these guys never gave up. They kept on punching and kept on moving despite what anybody has to say.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Your dad had an unstoppable mindset. I mean, what was driving him all those years that he didn't win a belt? I mean,
Well,
what was
like I
his
said,
driving force?
he he wanted that. I mean, he was hungry. He wanted that. He wanted that more than anything in the world. And it was funny because I remember asking him. I asked him. I said, "Well, Dad, how can you do this and still be able to, you know, stay dedicated?" And you know, because when he had his downtime, he liked to party too. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
I was like, "How did you distinguish the two?" He said, "Well, I wanted to be champion more than anything, so I knew when to say when."
Mm.
And his mindset was, "You got to get it," and he did everything you're supposed to do. You know, when you know your job description inside and out, you play it to a T, and you stay focused and you stay on that. You keep your eyes on the prize and just keep going towards it. And eventually you'll get there. As long as you make progress, you'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that
So,
that
man, you
that was
yeah
that
you
was that was that was his mindset to keep going. You know, just to keep going and keep making it happen. And you know, and train right. And he ate right. He trained right. He thought right.
mm.
You know, I used to ask him. I said, "Why you don't smile on the pictures like Sugar Ray Leonard and all these other guys?" And I ain't smiling. I got nothing to smile for. I've got to be mean in that ring. I got to be mean and lean, and that's that. He said, when I was an amateur, I was having fun boxing, and then when I was ready to turn pro, and I got in there for the first pro fight, and you know, a couple fights. He started to learn and say, "Damn, these guys is really real in this ring. They are really
Mm.
trying to really kill you for this little bit of chump change." So then that's when he said, "Hey." And that's when he put on that mean face, and that's when he got mean. He took boxing a whole lot serious, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Man, with his training regimen though, man, he did things that, not too many boxers do. I mean, he made himself run 12 miles in the snow. I mean, what kind of mindset does it take to make yourself do that?
Well, it's like, you know, well, your opponent's not doing this. You know, this will make you stronger. That's what it was always about on East Coast. You know,
Mm.
we did things that make you stronger, make you faster. You know, natural things. Okay, you know, you're not supposed to wear the boots. Boots are heavy. Why would you wear heavy boots? Okay, they make your legs strong. You know what I'm saying? And I remember asking him a question. This is recent. This was a recent question, probably about 7 years ago before he passed. I
Mm.
asked him. I said, why you know, what was the purpose of running 15 miles, Dad? Everybody says you don't have to run 15 miles. You know, even I thought he had to run 15 miles. You know, running was a part of training. And I
Yeah.
hated running. And I hated running. and then I found out that there were. I thought that I couldn't be a fighter if I couldn't run.
Oh, okay.
For real, that's how serious it was. And then I found out that there's other fighters that didn't run, that didn't like to
Yeah.
run neither. You know what I'm saying? And they just wouldn't run. I can't think of their names at this moment, but there's a lot of fighters out there that was like that. So he said to me, he said the reason why I run 15 miles, he said, is not because and I run with the boots and I'm running in the sand. He said the reason why I did all that is because it's not about the endurance. He said it's really mentally,
Hmm.
it's really dealing with my mindset because when you get tired in that ring, you can't stop. There's no gas station. There's no nothing. So I'm practicing on my will to keep going.
Hmm.
So I run. I start out. I say I wake up and I'll get up and say, hey, maybe I'll do 8. And then I'm running 8. All right, let's do 2 more. And let's do 2 more. And let's see how far you can go. And keep pushing myself and keep pushing myself and keep pushing myself, strengthening my mindset because I know that sometimes in the ring could feel the same way.
Yeah.
Could feel the same way, and you must finish. So that's what it was. It was just to strengthen my will, to make me mentally stronger than my opponent. And if you
Hmm.
think about it, if you think about it, people say it's crazy, but think about those berets, man, those green berets and those guys, man, those guys in the military, Navy SEALs and stuff, and what they start out with what 150 men and only end up with 10.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of mindset you want. You want that 10. You know what I mean? That means you can go through a lot and still keep standing and persevere. And your opponent, eventually he die off eventually, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's what type of mindset. It was hard to beat him at stuff. Just playing games and stuff. It was that was tough, man. It was tough. He was a tough, authentic, tough guy.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, you would go with him to the gym to, prepare for his fights.
Yeah.
I mean, did he put you through a workout himself, or was it somebody else in your family?
Well, it was him first because I started going to the gym with him, and at first I would come to the gym. I would just color, I wouldn't get into anything, and then I started falling asleep. And when I started falling asleep, that's when he was like, "Okay, you can't sleep, no more sleeping." So he gave me a pair of hand wraps, a pair of shoes, and some shorts, and said, "Okay, now you start working out." And that's how it all unfolded. But I was there most of the time doing all of it, all of his fights with pre-training and training until he started getting big. When he started, I was there in the beginning, all through training, and then when he started, going to training camp, I would only be there for pre-training because even when after he got done fighting, he'd probably take maybe a month off, if that, and then he's right back in the gym, right back to the 9 to 5. Same thing every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays. So that was our regiment all the time,
Hmm.
and I get to see different things that he would work on, him and Goody, especially. I remember after the Monroe fight, after that fight, he couldn't wait to get back into the gym. We at the gym and he's working hard. They putting up signs because he's going to fight him again, and he's just putting in a lot of work. And just watch him go over and correct their mistakes was great to see. Same thing after Durant fight. After Durant fight, he came back home and he was like, he's just telling me, he was like, I kept getting hit with that right hand, and you know, I didn't know how to defend it. So when they came back home, they started learning how to defend it. So instead of keeping your hands here, with Durant throw that jab, or whoever throw that right hand, you just catch it like this.
Uh,
Just I've seen a lot of things to learn off of and go by.
so, man, once he won a fight and he would come home, what was the home life like? Was it normal, or did it change?
No, it got back to normal. The partying started. You know what I mean, and he just became stress free. I guess I should say. You know what I mean, just like okay, it's relaxation time. I mean, they used to always my moms and them boys used to sleep. They used to sleep all day. We used to hate that. You used to sleep at 2, 3 in the morning. I mean, 2, 3 in the afternoon. They waking up. We like but not really understanding that he just, had a big fight and just,
Yeah.
been through all that training and stuff. So it was time for him to just relax and decompress.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, man, you were actually getting into boxing yourself once you became an adult. Did your dad support it, or was he against it?
Nah, he never, he was against it, and he never supported me with it. He didn't want me to fight, really. I mean, real bad. He really didn't want me to fight, but at some time, he would give me advice about fighting, knowing I was going to do it, regardless of what he would say. But
Right.
yeah, he didn't really support me in my boxing at all. I don't think he ever seen me fight. I think he might have seen me fight one time when he came to Atlanta. I had a recording. I had fought in the Georgia State games, and I remember, leaving the gym in Brockton because I couldn't understand Goody and nobody would work with me. Nobody would work with me. Nobody wanted to work with me. I didn't know why, and I was pissed. So that's what made me make the move to Atlanta. One of the reasons to go to Atlanta because I heard Atlanta, their amateur boxing down there, they was fighting all the time. In
Yeah.
Massachusetts, they only had like two amateur fights, and that was Golden Gloves and some other stuff. And they never really had smokers, so it was hard to get amateur fights at that time. So that's when I just went down there and I won the Georgia State game. I remember telling Goody and everybody in the gym, I said, I'm winning this. There's no way I'm gonna lose this. And I went down there and won it, came back and showed everybody. And I think and then I showed everybody. And my uncle, my uncle, he always spoiled it, but but it was cool. I understood what he was talking about. I really did. He said to me, he said, "That's good." He said, "But anybody could put you in there, but are you ready to be in there?" You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
And at the time, I didn't understand what he meant, but I know what he meant. Afterwards, a couple of years afterwards, I understood what he meant because what he's saying is that you can be. I mean, yeah. One thing about me is that I knew how to fight. I knew how to fight. I didn't have to learn it.
right.
So that's why I was. That's why I made the regionals and over like four. I only had four or five amateur fights, and I was in the regionals.
Hmm.
And a lot of guys couldn't understand how I got there so fast. I didn't even know until they told me. They told me they was like, well, because these guys just starting out, James. That's why. So I mean, it was Calvin Brock, Lamar Brewster. It was those guys, Rasheed Wells. It was those guys that was asking me these questions, and the only thing I could say is that, oh, I already knew how to fight. I just haven't been in any tournaments.
Right.
So my uncle was saying, yeah, but you wasn't in shape, which I wasn't. I wasn't in shape. I just knew how to fight. I just wanted to knock out people because I was pissed off the way things were going in my home life, and Dad wasn't there trying to help me. So I just was fighting. I knew how to fight. So
Hmm.
and that's what Robbie Simmons meant. That's what my uncle meant. And then a couple of years later, my dad comes to Atlanta, and I showed him the tape, and he sees the tape, and he sees me. He says, "You got a great jab, but you need to be in the gym more." And he got mad and he cut the tape off. He got mad, cut the tape off. I don't know why he was mad. I was doing all right, but I think he's seen that I needed a lot more work than what I thought I needed. I think
Yeah.
he's seen that. He said I could have been a lot better. But without him there, oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of difficult without that support.
Like, what you think about it? You think Mayweather be there if his dad and Roger was there?
Right.
No, no, he'd be in some recording studio or something. So I mean, that's just how the ball bounces when it came to me.
Right. So, man, another thing about that is that when he finished that Mugabe fight, that was really the end of it for him. But he kept
Yeah.
going. Why did he continue boxing after that?
Well, he didn't. That fight there. He wanted to retire after Hearns. That was the thing. He was ready to retire after Hearns, and the Petronellis wanted one more fight. So that's how the Beast Mugabe came along. That's when that fight happened, and he fought that fight, and we knew he was done. I knew he was done. He was entertaining the thought of retiring, and once a fighter does that, you might as well kiss the baby goodbye. He's mentally there's that mindset again.
Yeah.
Mentally he's entertaining the thought of retiring, so he's leaning towards that now. It ain't so much now it's a little struggle getting about the silk pajamas. So he says, what I'm saying? So like you said, it's hard to get up and run with silk pajamas on. So those things is coming into play now. So when he fought Mugabe, at the end of the fight, we walking down, coming down from the ring, and we turn around and he's right there. He just jumps on me and my brother, and he said, "Bring me back to the dressing room." And we brought
Mm.
him back to the dressing room, and after that, he was done. They said that they said I didn't see it. They said he was pissing blood after that too. So
Oof.
he like I said, he was finished. He didn't want to fight. He didn't even want to fight the Leonard fight. He didn't want that fight. I mean,
Right.
he wasn't enthused about training or none of that shit. We had to pack his shit full. We ain't never had to do that. We ain't never had to do that. You know what I'm saying? He had to go to training camp, and instead of doing 6 weeks, he had to do 8 weeks. You know what I'm saying? He
Wow.
didn't really want to fight. So people say, well, that fight wasn't all that. Well, his mindset wasn't wasn't like it usually is
Hmm.
when
That's
it comes to
surprising, man, because I mean his conditioning though, bruh, for that
yeah.
fight was just, I mean, it was off the charts.
Right, he conditioned right. I mean, it don't take long. At that level of athleticism, it don't take that long for you to get in shape.
Right.
Not when your body's been doing it consistently for years, and you know what to do. And he loved training. What I'm saying, it's only hard for those guys that don't like training. Marvelous liked training. He loved the smell of the gym. He just loved the grind and the grit of it. So I mean, that was never a problem getting in shape.
Yeah.
But the mental aspect wasn't like it usually was.
Okay.
I don't take nothing from him. I still think he won the fight. As far as I still believe in that shit. You gotta beat the guy. You gotta take it from the champion, especially somebody like Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And what he came through, what he came from, and what he went through to get that title. I mean, that should have been no here or there. That should have been like, yeah, you gotta beat him. This
Right.
one guy, you gotta beat this guy if you're gonna take this. You know what I'm saying? And that would have been, that would, you know, that's how I felt about that.
Yeah, I think the same thing, man. But when he lost the fight, what effect did that have on him and you and everybody else in the family?
Well, when he just couldn't believe it. I think what hurt him the most was the fact that they said he wasn't going to lose his title in that way. They said, well, nah, that's not going to happen, ma. Don't worry about it. That's not going to happen. And he believed him, and that's what killed his heart right there. And after that, he
Mm.
just wasn't the same person at all. I mean, he really boxing left a real bitter taste in his mouth just because of the fact that at one he was an uncrowned champion. Two, they tried to ruin his career by not giving him a title shot. He was 50 something when he got 50 something. Well, I can't remember his record was, but before he got a title shot, and then when he got a title shot, they robbed him of that. You know what I mean? So he just kept
Wow.
going through turmoils and turmoil of stuff from the business side of boxing. And for this to be, he was the king at that time when he fought Ray, and he thought he had a little more respect than that. And
Right.
I remember telling him, I said, I wouldn't have made it. It wouldn't have been a title shot. It would have been a small ring. It would have been 15. He said to me, he was like, if I did that, he said, if I did that, then I wouldn't have got no money. But I should have made you my manager. So, well, I guess if you look at it that way, but still, I say he didn't deserve. I wouldn't even fought him. That's why I told myself I wouldn't have fought him. He didn't deserve a title shot. Yeah, we're making a non-title fight to see who's the best,
Yeah.
but you ain't taking these. you ain't gonna get slick and try to run out the door with this. You know what I'm saying? So, but there had to be something else in my dad's head. But from what they say, he made an extra 20 million on that fight. Through
So
pay-per-view sales.
yeah,
And Ray didn't get that. And Ray didn't like that.
no,
Nah, he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. So um, I guess the fix was in, and he didn't know it.
hmm.
I mean that's the story to that. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
So in your
you know,
opinion, I mean, was it worth it?
I don't know. That's something you would have to ask him.
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't. But from what he told me, he said, and he told me this when Tommy Hearns got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because I asked him about his relationship with Ray, and I said, "Well, how's your relationship, man? Man, how's that going?" He said, "We're getting along." We said, "It's a lot better. It's a lot better,
Uh-huh.
and I like that." And he said, Pee Wee, I'm glad I fought him. I'm glad I got in the ring with him and got the chance to know what it feels like to fight him.
Hmm.
So like, at this point in time, I have no bitterness, no nothing. I'm glad, I'm well over that. And that was cool. I love to hear it because I didn't like the fact that they wasn't getting along. Man. I didn't like that.
Right.
I just thought that was just too crazy. But you don't. That's how they were. That's how those fighters are. All those fighters like that with their rivalries. So it was something that had to change within his heart. When he said that, I was like, cool. I still wouldn't have gave him a title fight. It wouldn't have been me. That fight would have never happened. If it wasn't going to happen during the time it's supposed to happen, it wouldn't happen. I told him that many times.
Hmm.
He'll say that he can't say that. He know I'm right. He know I'm
Yeah.
right. He knows I'm right. So we laugh about it, just keep it moving. But that was one of the conversations we had after that fight. Because we watched it the next day. We always watch his fights the next day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we watch him the next day when they come on the next day. We watch him, and he just was, he didn't he didn't like that one, and
So
he
what
said
did he have to say about the fight the day later, the day afterwards?
that's what he was like. There's no way he beat me. There's no way he beat me. They told me that this wasn't gonna happen, and this bullshit happened, and then he
Uh-huh.
was pissed, man. He was just pissed. I knew something was wrong when he didn't want to go to training camp.
Yeah.
I knew he was off. I knew it. You know what I mean? And another thing that really bothered him the most was not being there for my mom's. My mother's mother passed away, which is my grandmother passed away
Uh-huh.
around that time. And I think I didn't know it really bothered him like that. I didn't really think that I didn't know until years later when he was I think his wife's father or the mom's one of them passed away, and there was something that he was doing, and he asked me, he was like, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, what's up? He said, am I doing the right thing by, going to to be with Kay and her family, and am I doing the right thing? I don't want to mess up like I did with your mom's at your grandmother's thing.
Hmm.
And I was shocked. I was like, well, you got to be there for the family. But I come to find out that there was no way that he couldn't put the fight off unless it was his mom's.
Right.
See, if it was his mother, then he could delay the fight. But in the contract, it said that it has to be, it has to be like my mom's, which is his wife, or his mother, which is my other grandma.
Wow.
That was the only way that that fight could be stopped or postponed.
Uh-huh.
So it really bothered him about that, and he always brought it up years after after that conversation we had. He would bring it up. I don't want to make that mistake, and he apologized so much over that. So I
Hmm.
think that really bothered him a lot that he wasn't able to be there. You know,
Wow, I didn't know that, man.
yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that had a negative effect on him for that fight?
As far as what, like negative, like what do
Like
you
his
mean?
mindset?
Yeah. It bothered him. It bothered him a lot. It really did. We went through a lot. That's when that's when the bad times came in, started coming to the play, and
Mm.
things got really rocky, man. He didn't, he he just wasn't, like I said, just wasn't the same, man. His mental aspect, the way, I guess, the way he dealt with it was uh, to stay away, to go away. We, like, looking at us, we were that past. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
come to this conclusion because they asked him about him, why he never had a movie or a book written about him and all that. They asked him about this, so and his reply was, well, because I don't want to go down memory lane.
Wow.
He said it
He
was
didn't
too
want to see
painful.
that.
Right, it was too painful. So okay, now he's making this. The fight is over. The divorce is in effect. He's acting up. He's out in the street. He's acting up, partying, doing whatever he want to do. Okay, down he gets himself together and he moves. And we don't see him. And he goes to Philippines and does his movies. We don't see him. We
Wow.
don't hear from him or nothing. None of that. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess the guilt kicks in and it starts to call. But I felt like, my brothers and sisters, we all felt like we would, like, we at first we were family and then we became distant relatives. I
Mhm.
mean, to sum it all up, that's how it felt. And I think it was bothering him towards his, coming towards the end of his life. He it was starting to bother him a little more, and he wanted to come back home and try to spend more time. And that's what we wanted. That's what the kids we wanted more than anything, was for him to be a part, because he had great grandkids that he didn't know, and
Wow.
nobody spent time. And we would get frustrated. We see him, at the Patriots game with Tom Brady by himself. I'm like, why you don't just say, why you don't just call us up and say, y'all want to go to the game?
Yeah.
That's shit you do, right?
Exactly.
So
He
we
didn't
pissed
take
off.
you.
No, we never went. We never went to baseball games. We never did none of that. None of that shit. We never did none of that shit. Sometimes it was to the point where it got. I mean, we got in so much beef over this shit here. It got to the point where we had to call his lawyer to get in touch with him.
What?
So, and then it just was, it was real bad, man. I don't want to say too much, but it was just real bad, man. It was going through that, and that was the big fuss. And I don't think his wife understood it anyway. I really
Uh.
didn't. We were looking at her like, okay, you his wife. Why y'all ain't, Mom? Let's go see the kids. Let's go hang out with the kids. You're retired. You ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean,
Right.
I know you're trying to keep busy because you a boxing ambassador and shit. But you got time that you got to get back to your kids that you took.
Yeah.
Despite that, we're all grown. We're not asking you to, to be there like that, but we are asking you to be, to be involved. We all asking you to be involved with our lives. You know what I mean? Different things. I mean, you miss kids getting married, you miss graduations, you miss all kinds of shit, and we
Mm.
supposed to be happy with that. You know what I'm saying?
So,
So
bro, let me get this straight. Okay, so after he lost the fight to Sugar Ray, he went into a depression.
something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So, I mean, we had a lot of discussions about mental health on our previous shows, man, but we never really got into your dad's mental health.
yeah.
That was a conversation we never really talked about. So he went into a depression, and then he left your mom, left you and your brothers and sisters, and went to Italy.
Yeah, they got the divorce, and he had to clean his act up because he was supposed to get the street was they were supposed to give him the street at that time.
Yeah.
And what had happened, he had got into it with this girl, and he broke her jaw. And once that got out, they took the street from him.
Wow.
So he was getting in a lot of trouble, with the drug abuse too, and he was getting in a lot of trouble, and he
Mm.
had to clean himself up. So that's what he did. He went to Italy to do this.
Okay.
That's where he went to Italy. He got himself together. We was always rooting for him. We all kept saying, okay, when he get himself together, he gonna come back, and you know,
Mm.
we're gonna be able to see him, and we're gonna be able to spend some time with him. And it just never happened.
Mm.
You know, it never happened. We thought after he retired that we was gonna get our father back. You know, and we just
Yeah.
never got him back. And we never got him back. You know, so
So
it was
while he was over there, he met somebody else and got married.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just went from there, and he just never looked back like that. And that's what gave me that conclusion when I heard him give that answer. I was like, man, that's what it is. So when you looked at us, you just seen pain. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And instead of being a real man, all you gotta do is just come through. I mean,
Yeah.
ain't nobody saying you gotta move back. Ain't nobody saying you gotta give up your wife. Ain't nobody saying none of that.
Right.
When the last time we shared a Christmas together? When the last time we shared Thanksgiving together? Well, these are like decades.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So
man.
we really we was really pissed off at him, and that's why he didn't get the response that he thought he should get from us, and we told him that several times. You know, one thing he had to understand is that it wasn't about him anymore.
Yeah.
You know, he reached his pinnacle. He's done everything. He became a legend. You did everything you wanted to do. You accomplished your dream. You know what I'm saying? So now it ain't about you, it's about us. And it just never really happened. And that's one thing that makes us, that's where our sadness come in because we never got the opportunity to do a lot with our dad, after the fact of fighting. I mean,
Yeah.
one thing he was fighting and he was never there because he was training and he was trying to get to this goal. We was all with it. You know what I'm saying? Now you reach this goal and you don't give back. That's bananas. If you look at Shaq, you look at I would say Shaq, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's story is the best for me. And I love to tell it. When he was getting ready to get that divorce playing with Washington, and his wife was like, you got to wait for these kids to get to college, and let's get these kids together first. If you don't do that, I'm taking you to the ringer. You got a choice. You do that, or you do that, and then we get the divorce. Or if you want it right now, go ahead. I'm gonna take you to the ring. And if you see that, you see that divorce decree that they had up there at the first time, you'll be like, wow, she was really socking it to him, man. And
Yeah.
he put that shit in park and did the right thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of these celebrities do nowadays. They even then, they all, you got to come back to the family, regardless of if you're divorced. You got to do it. And I don't think he knew how to do it. I
Hmm.
don't know if he knew how. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to make excuses for him, but I don't think. I just think he was being a coward about it. You know what I mean? Because it was easier just to walk away and keep it moving than it is to come back and share that time. But
Right.
who knows?
Yeah. And then the other thing about that, of course, him coming back to visit would have been awesome for you guys, right? But
Yeah.
even a phone call. I mean, did he call?
Yeah, we got calls. Some, yeah, he did. I'm not gonna say he gave us phone calls, and there was. I mean, at first it was crazy because first he calls and hey, how you doing? I just want to see how you guys are. I love you guys, and that was it. Then towards as he got older, the phone calls changed. He'd call. You could expect a call from him on your birthday. You can probably expect a call from him on Christmas, you know, like that. But we never talked long, what I'm saying. Then he came to Atlanta a couple of times to see us, but that's it though. You
Hmm.
know, that was it. It was nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You know. And the funny thing about it is he always used to say, you know, well, that's why I come there. That's why I come to New Hampshire every summer. And we're
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, but when you come here, you don't like to let us know you're here until you get ready to leave.
Oh, wow. He
I
didn't
tell
spend
you,
any time with you guys.
I mean, this all this stuff is early times, but towards the end, like I said, towards the end, it was changing. Things were starting to change towards the end. But in
Uh-huh.
the early days, that it was crazy.
Hmm.
You couldn't understand it. Like, okay, we just was whatever. I mean, we loved him a lot. We wanted to spend that time with him. That was our only problem that we had with him was that he
Right.
didn't give us enough of his time,
Well, when he died, I mean, he died like in tip-top condition. I mean, this guy was still riding his bike for miles over there in Italy, and then
man.
all of a sudden he dies. Man, what was that effect on you?
Oh man, it was. I remember getting that phone call. My mom's called me. You know, first the first call was he was in a hospital, and then my wife and her brother, her brother called her and told her, and then she called me, and I was like, okay. And then when I got back home later on, then I got the call from my mother said he died.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, I just broke out in tears. I was like, oh man, I felt so bad because him and I didn't get along, and we stopped talking for 5 years up to that point.
5 years.
Yeah, and last time I seen him was Las Vegas. He was getting inducted to the Las Vegas Hall of Fame, and I was living out there. And it was crazy how I ran into him. It was because he didn't. I knew he was going to be there, but he didn't
Uh-huh.
invite me to go. You know what I'm saying? It was the only one he invited was his wife, his aunt, and his mom's. So I'm working at Caesar's Palace I'm working at Cheesecake Factory in Caesar's Palace, and I get off work. This is Sunday. Now the event happened Friday and Saturday. I thought he was gone. Usually he leaves right after that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, and I'm saying, it'd be crazy if I see my father today, but I think he left. She's like, all right, when you come home, send him on the way home now. Remind you, this is 1 in the morning. So I walk through the Caesar's Palace like I always do. I go the same route. I walk through the casino, and I go out by I go out to the casino and go past the front entrance, and I take the side door because it's closer to the bus. So as I'm walking through the casino and I'm coming out of the casino into the front of Caesars, I happen to look over there and there's him. He's over there at the bar,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, but I was pissed. I was like, I'm gonna just keep walking. I ain't saying nothing to that dude. And then he seen me, and I looked at him. We locked eyes, and he was like, "Hey, come here, you come here." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then we knew it was each other. We noticed each other. So I walked
Yeah.
over there, and we put our differences aside. We gave each other that look like, and then we put our differences aside, and we just sat down, had a couple beers, and we talked. And I talked to the people that he was with, and we had a good time. And I walked him back to his room, and then I left. And that was the last time I seen him. Oh, I had a
That was a
conversation.
wow.
So
And then
that's
how long was that before he died?
5 years ago. From March 2021, it was like 2017.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was 2017.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and that was it. I think it might have been 16. Might have been 16. I know it was around that time though, and I just took that. That's my last memory of him.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't get to see him no more after that. That was it. And
Yeah.
that's it at first. It was just crazy coincidence. I didn't know, God works in mysterious ways, man. Not knowing that that was,
I was just about to say that.
yeah, not knowing that that was going to be the last time I would ever see him. It would really hurt me bad if I never seen him.
Yeah.
Like the time before I seen him before that had to be 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
Probably no. The time I seen him was when Tommy Hearns got inducted, and that had to be what 2012 maybe.
Oh, really, man?
Yeah, that was
Hmm.
2012 when Hearns got inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota. So that would have been if I didn't see him in Vegas, that would have been the last time I seen him.
Hmm.
So it was good that I got a chance to see him before he checked out.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like the fact that we didn't get a chance to fix our issue. You know what I mean? To talk, man. You know, we usually do that, but for some reason, he I just got tired of being a bigger man in this situation. That's what
Mm,
it was. Because I'm always the bigger man that comes to talk to him first. But this time I was like, nah, he gonna come see me. He gonna talk to me first, and I was just being macho about it. And and that year I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the Boxing Hall of Fame. I'm just gonna squash it. I'm not gonna do that because time is precious.
yeah,
And that's when I started realizing that time is the most, time is valuable. It's very valuable. It's like one of the most valuable things. Is the valuable thing on this earth. So why would you squash that? You can't take that for granted. And I started understanding that. And I said, you know what, Marvelous don't Marvelous ain't thinking right. You know what I'm saying? So somebody got to talk to him, man. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been the guy that always stood up and talked to him, man. As far as the kids are concerned,
mm,
and and so I was like, I just got to do it again. So I had to swallow my pride and just forgive him. And later on that year, I was going to that following June, I was going to go to the Boxing Hall of Fame. I was going to show up, and we was gonna, fix our issue then, but he didn't make it that far. So
yeah. Well, man, I'm so grateful that you had that last memory with him, man.
yeah, me too. Because nobody, I feel sorry for my brothers and sisters. Some of my sisters and brothers, I haven't seen them, over 10.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel bad for them, but it is what it is. It's hard to miss them when you're not there. You
Yeah.
know, So they're sad because they won't ever be able to see them ever again. And so
Well, man, this has been some talk. I'm gonna have to watch a replay on this one. It's been awesome, man.
no doubt.
Before we check out, man, we got a message from a friend here.
Okay.
From
Oh,
Sh-
okay, Sheila.
from yeah,
Yeah,
rock
yeah,
stars, woohoo. Last
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
years, James came to work with me at Westside Barbell, vestibular baby. I
yeah,
saw those pictures and that video.
yeah. It was. Yo, Jesse, you had to try it one time, man. It's. I can't wait to work more with her. You know what I'm saying? Because I do plan to work more with her, and I'm
Okay,
gonna check with the West Side barbells to see if they're with me in shape. That's something that I got planned that I'm gonna do. Once everything is said and done. So, we've talked about it a little bit, but the way they do things is I think it's an invitation only. So I have to really talk to them to see what's going on, and we're gonna do it. And I'm definitely gonna get back with Sheila. I can't wait because I got some fighters that I would love to, love for her to work with, man. And I was telling once I did that, I had a lot of people in the boxing world asking me, well, what was it about? They got questions. So I said
yeah,
to them, I said, well, you know what? This would have helped Dante Wilder out big time. you
huh?
know, and everybody agreed with me once they see the videos. And I showed them a video of she had military personnel. They put them in a helicopter simulator to
Uh huh.
see how quick they can gain their senses after being twirled around. And I tell you, man, that video is phenomenal, man. After that video, they was like, "Yeah, you're right. He could help. That could help Dante Wilder."
Huh. So
It's
I'm okay. So tell me, how was that experience, man? Putting on that harness.
it's something else, man. You're working and you don't realize you're working. You know what I'm saying? You get to sweating and stuff like that. It's
uh,
crazy, man. It's crazy. Man. You feel it. You're really alert though. Very alert. Everything is illuminated, man. That's how my experience was. Everything was illuminated, man. You could hear things. I mean, it was some real stuff, man.
okay. So
Real
we're
stuff.
definitely gonna have to have Sheila on the show, man.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, 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 definitely. She's helping a lot of people. She's grown so much over the years since the last time we talked to her. And
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
got bigger accounts and stuff. So you working with military personnel and stuff like that, man, is bananas. And she was at the time when I was there, she was working with the MMA fighters. She's just now getting towards that lane right now. So this is it's
Okay,
gonna be interesting.
that's awesome, man. So we definitely got to have her on the show, and hopefully we can get her to sponsor us.
No doubt, no doubt. See, they
Yeah.
get all that cheese.
All right, brother man. So we will be back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode next Tuesday at the same time at 2 o'clock Eastern. Thank you so much for tuning in, James. God bless you, brother. See you again soon.
See you guys later.
All right. Thanks for watching Living on Purpose podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you next week.